Hey, this is Spanner from the Spanner and Riggs Show. We're here with another episode, and Spanner and Riggs here. We're getting ready for our first fall sports this upcoming fall. We've done winter, we've done spring. Now we're getting ready for fall. Everyone's excited about the gridiron and soccer and volleyball. Is there anything better than someone smashing a ball in front of the line there in volleyball? Or the ice. You know what I mean? So here we go, a little fall sports preview. We're going to talk a little Bowman football today. They were state semifinalists last year, so here we go. Hey, we're here on the high school segment for the Spanner and Riggs Show. We're here with the Bowman County stud football players, Grant Kees and Mace and Stuber. A couple seniors, a couple captains for them. They got to the state semifinals last year, ran into kind of a juggernaut there with the Kindred Vikings. So, but senior year this year, and they're looking to maybe go a little farther. How we doing, boys?
Pretty good. We've had 7 practices so far, and we keep getting better and better every day. Just trying to be at the top of our class, but we're taking it one game at a time for sure.
Yeah, we got to have our viewers take a look. Spin that camera around a little bit and see where you guys are located right now.
We turn this bad.
See if they got the technology down. Look at that. I tell you, we were just talking before we went on the air here. That's a pretty amazing setup they got with the bleachers there, and we were talking about good crowds. What's it like to play in front of those crowds? I mean, you guys are saying numbers like 1,500, maybe 1,700. What's it like to play in front of a home crowd like that?
Yeah, it sure helps to get you fired up for some football, and we're pretty lucky to have a great community to fill up the stands most every Friday night or Saturday games, and it sure is nice.
So, Bowman, who's your biggest rivalry? And is it as good as Ryan Velva and Hazen Beulah, or tell us about it? Is it Hettinger?
Well, we haven't played Hettinger in a good 5-6 years, so it's not really them anymore. We've developed one with the Big Red team up north, but that's kind of hasn't been much of a rivalry the past few years, just because some of them games haven't been as competitive as we'd like them to be.
Yeah, playing Trinity's always gets us pretty hyped, but we've beat them 5 years in a row and plan on making it 6 this year, but definitely would say that they're our biggest rivalry.
Absolutely. You guys, we talked about, tell us a little bit about yourselves, guys. We talked about, Spain and I have always kind of liked to highlight athletes that play multiple sports. We with our success, I could bet you could probably tell our elite athletes, both in hockey and soccer, there was usually chances are these athletes used to play other sports, either in high school or whatever. But tell us a little bit about both you guys and what other sports you guys got going on.
Yeah, I've only done wrestling and football throughout all high school. I've been wrestling since I was a kindergartner, so that's been a big part of why I can be a pretty good football player. Placed 6th my sophomore year and placed 3rd last year as a junior at 220, and looking to make it at the top this year.
Yeah, I play basketball and do track. I'm a lineman. I'm 6 foot. Probably ain't the best basketball player in the world, but I sure have fun doing it. And thrower and track, and I enjoy doing that. Placed in javelin, discus, and shot put in the region last year, and planning on doing it the same and make it to state and track this upcoming year for sure.
Tell us now, does wrestling help with tackling in football? And tell us about track and basketball, and because football's kind of your guys' main thing. Those other sports, how have they benefited you on the football field?
Well, wrestling is a sport that really helps you figure out the best way to optimize every part of your body, and basically how to use every part of your body correctly and being able to control it. And it definitely it allows you to be more flexible which obviously as a lineman is a really big part of, being successful and being able to get up to that top tier and be one of the best.
Yeah, basketball, I'd have to say for sure conditioning. Obviously running up and down the court in practices and just being in a sport in the winter sure helps keep you conditioned for football. And then track, a lot of people wouldn't think it, but, when you're throwing, it's all in the hips, and getting them loosened up and rotating and being explosive. That's all it is. And when you're throwing is being explosive, and that sure helps for football too.
Spainer alluded to at the beginning about kind of a tough end of the season last year, and I kind of asked this with a couple of our previous guests on our show that have had come up short at the end but had really good seasons. I don't want any cookie cutter, politically correct answers to this from both of you, but what is it going to take for you guys to get through to that next level? What's it going to take for you guys to be excited and celebrating? What are a couple of the key things that you guys as your program needs to do? And like I said, don't PR this. I want if defense didn't stop the run, we got to stop the run, or offense has got to be able to stay on the field longer or whatever. But give us a really good answer. What's going to make you guys very successful this year and find out you're going to win that last game as opposed to getting towards the end and losing.
Well, this year we've got even less numbers than we did last year, so we've developed a really good culture around here, and a lot of guys that love playing with each other and love being around each other. And I just think last year going up to Kindred, playing against one of the biggest teams in the state, a lot of guys were just scared to play that day, and I think a lot of guys just need to learn how to buck up and play with no fear and not have a care in the world about what the outcome is. Just play their butts off and go out and try to win.
Yeah, and to add to that, I'd definitely say stay healthy. We don't got a lot of depth here at Bowman. It's just the way it is, and we definitely got to find an identity. We get all of our linemen back that we had last year, which sure helped. So you can about guess what we're going to be doing a lot, but everything that Mace said too. So
honest answer. I like it.
So you guys, looking to go to college and play. Sounds like you both want to play football. There's some schools talking to you. Yep. Do you want to elaborate on who's talking to you and, what you guys are kind of thinking?
Well, there's really, being in a small town, there's not a whole lot of guys that get a look at you. But through a couple of connections, Dickinson State has been the one that's kind of given me a look, and that's a school that I really like. So I can see that being my future plans for the next few years.
Yeah, I'd have to say same about Mace. Sure like what Dickinson's got going there with 7 straight conference championships. It's sure hard to beat that. And I been talking a lot with Valley City too, and really like what they got going there as well. But we're both going on game day visits this fall, and we'll know a lot more after that. But definitely just trying to stay focused on our senior year, because you start thinking about college and all that, and then your senior year slips away from you, and we sure don't want that here. So,
people don't maybe realize where Bowman is, way nestled in the kind of southwest corner. I certainly have known when we were talking about it beforehand. Bowman was a place for us when we'd go play, Colorado. We'd take that 12-hour bus ride, and Bowman was sometimes that place where we would do the shift change. It's right down on the corner. Tell us a little bit about Bowman. I mean, you guys are basically, you're still in North Dakota. You could tell it's a little bit sunnier, so you're probably an hour ahead of us or behind us or whatever you want to call it. But what's it like living in Bowman? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that where the sign is that tells you if you go south, there's no gas stations for like 100 miles or something like that?
Well, yeah, kind of. We're what are we, 20 minutes from South Dakota and half hour from Montana, I guess. But yeah.
Well, I've been in Bowman my whole life. We've got a farm homesteaded here, and in very early 1900s. So my entire family for generations has been in Bowman, and from what I've heard from them, it seems like nothing's really changed. Everybody on every street, and it's just a really tight community.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty much ag community. We got practices in the morning or late at night. We try to be, best for the farm kids and all that. Right now it's harvest, so try to get practice done so they can get out into the fields and stuff like that. But
Basically, hardworking dudes.
Yeah,
Whole town's hardworking dudes.
I love it.
So let's get down. Let's have some fun here. So why don't you guys give us a story, each of you, of the best hit, your best pancake, your best sack. I mean, the stuff that's super fun. You can talk about in the locker room after a game. Tell us your highlighted moments of your football career so far.
I guess for me, it would have been that game up in Beulah last year. End of the regular season, winner takes home a region title, and just felt like we all played really good that game. But I had 3 sacks against what was touted as the best offensive line in the entire state of North Dakota, and I just felt like I played the best game of football I ever had.
So basically, Aaron Donald plays for Bowman. That's good to know. We'll have to write that down.
Absolutely.
heck yeah. Mine, I'd probably have to say against Beulah as well. I probably didn't have as good of a game on defense as Mace did, but on offense, we just kept running right up the gut on them, and they sure couldn't stop us. And they were hyped as #1 team in the state coming down from AA, and Bowman County didn't have a chance, and we had to beat them by 17 to get that full-on region championship, and we beat them by more than that. And on offense that game, we just kept being the hammer, not the nail, and took it to them. So I'd probably have to say that game for sure.
That's good. So the state needs to know that Bowman's rolling with Aaron Donald and Larry Allen.
Heck yeah.
No, that stuff's pretty exciting though. But like you said, it takes a lot of energy, a lot of commitment for you guys, especially if you're playing both sides of the ball. And as you alluded to, your numbers are down a little bit, which means again depth is going to be critical. And so, just like any athletes, you got to take care of your bodies and stuff. So I, applaud you guys for doing that. It's kind of the way of life, especially in small towns, to see that, playing that Iron Man style, that two-way football, and off, both what plays, both sides of the lines, which is really critical in terms of that stuff. But no, that's really big. You guys both talked about. This is my last question. You guys both talked about potential some schools and stuff like that. What about not school? What's the future like? You guys have future goals and what you want to do. I know, some ag background, which is a big part of your way of life, but what do you have plans to do, from the academic side? Do you have goals and aspirations of what you want to do after high school?
Yeah, definitely thinking about right now history education, and then also like coaching and athletic and educational leadership for sure. Definitely gonna stay with the game of football, my whole life, because I don't know, I'm just that competitive and love the game. So definitely be coaching a long time after I'm playing for sure.
I don't have much of a decision yet on what I'm going to do, but I've always got a good option of going back to a really nice, really good farm, to a really good family that, it's really easy to work with and come back to.
Absolutely.
And then to want to also coach football and wrestling.
So, go ahead. Sorry. So,
just like my older brother who works for it. He coaches football and wrestling down here too.
I like that. We've got Bailey coming on Tuesday, and she coaches youth, and it sounds like you guys get in and coach the youth. Like Bowman's got a pretty good culture there of their varsity kids down there working with young kids. Is that true? How's that work?
Yeah. We varsity sports, they're important, but our youth sports are just as important. They're our future here. Camps and everything. Coaches always ask us high school kids to help out with camps and practices every once in a while. We sure show up and try and make them better and have some fun too, of course.
So, Mace, you're going to have to, validate everything Grant's about to say. But so tell me, what's it like, playing for your dad? And does he treat you, is he easier on you? Is he harder on you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, he's pretty hard on me, but he's just as hard on Mace and Ashton and us three senior linemen. I definitely don't get away with nothing, that's for sure. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Definitely love having him as a coach, and just glad that he's into the game as much as us seniors are, and just can't say more than that, I guess. But
Well, it's been awesome having you guys on.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try to jump down there. Where's the Dickinson Trinity game? Is it home or away?
here, Trinity's home, but we go to like Bismarck, Shiloh, and then we'll go to Hazen. I know that's quite a bit closer for you guys. Go to Kildare, I guess. But
Hazen, home of the Obenauers. So,
oh boy,
Obenauers have some. They got some kids on that team too. They're Hall of Famers at Minot State.
Mm-hmm.
But we're definitely going to have to check out you guys this fall. I'll be out there on the road, and we'll see you guys out there. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, heck yeah! Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, boys. Here we are in the high school segment. An exciting time. You know, the calendar rolled into August. You know, I saw on social media now posts of different schools having football practices and different sports reporting and stuff like that. I know boys soccer, another big one that's really kind of getting ready to gear up for a big fall year. I know you're obviously paying attention to all sports, but we want to dive into each sport here probably for the next, 5 or 6 episodes as we kind of get into this. But we'll touch on boys soccer. What are you looking for right now? I mean, obviously it's just getting started here.
Class A.
Yeah, just Class A. When does actual games get kicked off here? Do they wait till school actually starts, or when does that?
No, they'll be playing like next week and stuff,
Okay.
just like everyone else. I think they start with the crossover here in North Dakota.
Okay.
Boys soccer will be interesting. You got Minot won the WDA last year. You got Shanley and Davies coming out of the East. They met in the state championship. The question is, can someone in the West get a game at state? It's very similar to, boys hockey.
Yeah.
Where they go, the West can't get a game at state. So can Minot or Century or Bismarck get one at state this year?
Well, can they?
I don't think so.
Why not? But, is it like, are we talking like insurmountable type of
No.
David versus Goliath, or just is it something like when it gets to tournament time, something just happens, or is it a lack of depth? Is it a lack of talent? Is it just inexperience? We've talked about it. You gotta learn to win before you win sometimes, especially if you're in kind of the rebuild mode type of sports. But is it just overall, because you think about it, like on the girls' side, girls complete and utter domination. So you're like, okay, there's got to be numbers that back that up. What about on the boys' side though? But like you said, you mentioned Century and a couple of these other teams. But is there? I don't even know. How did it go last year? Were the games close? Like, was it a couple close games?
Minot could have won last year. They were the one. They lost the 4. They could have won. It's just the East teams are deeper, more athletic. It'll be interesting to see. I do think Minot's got the inside track in the West. Bismarck schools are down a little bit. Only the 1 seed's going to have a chance. Like the 3 and 4 are going to go up against Davies and Shanley, and Davies and Shanley are going to be hard to stop to repeating in the state championship game, which Davies won a shootout last year. Mm-hmm. So if West Fargo Cheyenne's good, it's tough sledding over there in Fargo.
It's absolutely weird where we touched on a little bit where there's, with the way that the regions are set up, there's times where the East just completely dominates a little bit more than not, and then there's times where the West will dominate in certain sports, sometimes in basketball or even sometimes in football, depending on the year, except for maybe the top teams. I wonder why that is. Rarely are we seeing, a year where it's just like the top two, meet each other, and it's the top in each. It's weird. It always seems to be one side is just having a better year and other side's having a down year or whatever, but it's weird how that works.
It comes down to the youth programs. I mean, like, Fargo's tech team wrestling's a pretty good club. Okay. They can't touch Matt Pack. Okay. Matt Pack funnels into Bismarck High. Bismarck High wins the state championship basically every year. You know what I mean? Minot's girls youth program, dominant all the way down, full teams. They have half the teams at every tournament. You go to, Dickinson's, gymnastics. I mean, they got this. It's in the DNA now, and the little girls run around doing gymnastics. They have half the field at the state tournament. Baseball seemed a little bit spread amongst both sides. Yeah. But I don't. West Fargo, Cheyenne is. They're a cut above.
For sure. Same with even their Legion teams. They're always tough.
Yeah. They're a cut above, and it is what it is. But, be interesting. When we looked at Class A, Class B, or Class A football, I think that's kind of that's a little balanced. It'll be interesting. I think Red River will make some noise this year, which is.
I was just going to lead into that, is there a couple teams, like you said, you mentioned Davies and, you think Monmouth High, very good on the, is there going to be a couple teams that, a team or two that might have been, I don't know, a 7th, 8th seed, but, had some good young talent that could make a run, maybe even just in the region tournament stuff? Do you see any potential, for a little bit of a dark horse? Not necessarily state, but just within the region.
Like football or soccer?
Soccer. Like you said, Red River, okay, that's maybe on the east. What about in the west? Do you think,
I think Legacy's going to be better. Their girls made state for the first time in school history, and it'll be interesting. I think you're going to have 4 schools from Fargo sweep the West.
Holy buckets!
That's what I think is going to happen. 4 from Fargo sweep the West. Now, I will say this though, the West kind of handicaps themselves because they have the WDA tournament, where the Eastern Conference does not do that.
Really?
So the Eastern Conference plays it out in soccer. So your 1 seed is the 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
Where in the West, sometimes your 1 seed, they have a WDA title game, they'll lose.
Oh,
and then now they're playing a better team over in the state round because they go in as the 2 seed, even though they were the 1 seed. Where the East gives you that straight up.
Interesting. Has it always been like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Even like it's in the hockey, it's weird too because they both have region tournaments. But in the West, they always have it in one location, either Bismarck or Minot. It's kind of similar, same thing. You could be a 24-0 in the regular season and then get knocked off in the West region. You'll be the 2 seed, going into it. The East, what ends up happening is the round 1s of the East region tournament is played at the higher seeds home venue. And then they meet for the Final Four type of thing. And so kind of interesting why the different, the EDC and the WDA have
different rules?
Yeah, it's weird. You think about, you're all under the, North Dakota High School Activity Association, yet they have different setups. So, that could play in a factor too as well. Do they play games right up until like the same weekend as West Region?
So yeah, Eastern Conference, like girls soccer, they were playing at the, I actually went to the West Fargo Cheyenne Shanley game, and it was like that was flipping all the seeds around based on who was in the West, and the West was having their tournament.
Interesting. Yeah. So no, that'll be interesting. But that kicks off right away here. Like, it's crazy, man. I feel like this summer is just blowing right by us. And
like 24th is opening day for sports, I think. So St. Mary's plays at Minot for football. So that'll be an interesting game. I interviewed some St. Mary's guys, and they said that they are coming. They're better this year. Talked to Minot. They say they're coming. They're better this year. This is going to be an interesting opening game because the loser is going to end up kind of maybe down that road of where they were at, and the winner is going to get this big jump and everything they've been working for and lifting for all summer. And is it going to change their future? I don't know, but we're going to find out on the 24th.
Another great episode here in the Spinner and Rigs podcast We're really taking a dive into these fall sports, which have now heated up here as we rolled into August. We're going to make sure we touch on some football, volleyball, golf, cross country, and soccer as well. It's going to be exciting seeing these athletes back in their high school days and getting ready for a big season. Make sure to stay tuned on all of our social media platforms on Spain and Riggs Podcast, brought to you by the Nakota.